internship. International Internship University is the world's first internship-based virtual university, building a better and brighter future for all the young learners, and is committed to provide quality, accessible, affordable, skill-based, and location-independent education to learners across the world. IIU is providing access to more than 1,000 plus courses and internships to their e-learners across the globe, with the team of high caliber and experienced global educators. IIU has been accredited and affiliated with World Education Organization and International Accreditation Organization, and collaborated with all the world's top universities and educational institutions through the platform of massive open online courses, which is called as MOOC. IIU provides various certificates and diploma courses. There is always that one person who has the vision, the thought, the idea behind a successful venture and organization. And if we talk about the man behind the success of IIU, it is none other than our beloved co-founder of IIU, Mr. Piyush Pandit. He concocted the world's first virtual internship university during the pandemic, the International Internship University, the IIU. Now talking about myself, I am the Global Ambassador, All India Educators Forum, Manager, Academic Planning and Research, Management Academic Team, India, International Internship University, the MIE, and the Global Ambassador for 21st DigiSkills India. 21st DigiSkills, the international NGO. Now over to my topic for the day. Disaster management. We all are very well aware about the disaster that caught us all for approximately 2 years. And right now also, the crisis is not over. It is still on us. We get to hear some cases happening in the neighborhood here and there. And how are we going to manage such disaster? But today, what my topic talks about is natural hazards. The pandemic was also a disaster. It was a biological disaster more that really created havoc when we talk about persons getting ill. Which could be taken care of. The WHO taught us how to really, look after, safeguard ourselves, because they say we have to learn to live with this COVID. We have to learn to live with this COVID because it is here to stay. It is just like your any other cough and cold, any like fever that you get. So how much you can be into your own confined homes. We have been there for approximately 2 years at home, learning to safeguard against the situation. Keep sanitizing your hands, cover your mouth with masks so that you are free from the hazard. And we have been taught now. So I'm an educator, and I'm sure many other educators must be listening to me right now. So if we say that we have to, the COVID is striking again, so we must shut down everything again, but that is not the solution. We must see what hazards it did that do. Our children who, when we talk about SDG 4, when we talk about achieving all those SDG, our children have gone 2 years back, undoubtedly. The teachers did not leave any stone unturned in, imparting the knowledge, the information, the education, but the societal mix, the social emotional balance has really suffered a lot. So we do not want it more to happen. The children are back to school, they are happier at school. As I said, educators with me right now can look at the strength coming to school. It is 100%. The children are loving coming to school. They are liking attending the classes and doing the activities. So one thing learned, that we cannot do away with the society. Our society is there for us to mingle, to share our joys and sorrows. So let us be very, very cautious that these disasters cannot take the little joys of the world. It just requires some patience, some conscious effort, and some reflections that we have to do. So I am further going, and I'll take you with my PPT. Let me allow to share my screen with you. All right. Okay. I hope you can see my screen, all of you.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So, so when we talk of the disaster management right now, we have spoken about one disaster, the biological disaster, which we all have experienced. And we all have learned that if we are prepared for it, it is not necessary that we all have to experience it. If we safeguard ourselves, we take proper precautions, we can escape the disaster. So the disaster right now, with my presentation, the presentation that I am going to show it to you, it talks about the disaster management, the disaster caused by earthquakes. There are many areas that are prone to such earthquakes. Like I reside in Delhi, and I remember the one term or I felt my office at my school is on the third floor building. I'm on the third floor, and I could literally see, I could literally experience my laptop moving. You know, it went from one place to the other. So it was such a very, very scary thing. So the disaster management, preparing yourself and learning, it is not that we all have to learn through tragedy. So we are just going to discuss about how to overcome that tragedy. So as I have already discussed with you, what does a disaster mean? Disaster is a serious problem that can occur for a short and a long period, and it is going to harm the humans, the material, the economy, the environmental loss. We have all seen it very recently. And how to overcome such like disasters, such like losses in future is something that always comes to our mind. And you know, we are grief stricken, we get into worry, how to escape such disasters, which in our country, we have a body in the name of DDMA. They have given us certain guidelines, and we follow those guidelines. And as educators, we educate our children at school, and not only at school, those visiting the malls, the shops, you would have noticed the cinema halls. We have noticed that these kind of certain drills have been carried out to really, you know, teach how to safeguard ourselves. So this is some data that had been collected over the period of years, what all has we have faced, the disaster, the gas tragedy that happened, the cyclone that came in Odisha, the earthquake that struck Bhuj in Gujarat. And you see how many casualties happened that time, what happened in tsunami. So to add to it, there is the pandemic that struck us in 2020. and we are still talking about it and still worried about how much disaster it can cause. So that we are well aware now. During that disaster, what to do. But when we talk about some earthquakes, like it happened in, now I'm talking internationally, it struck in Haiti, it struck in Japan, in Myanmar, in Pakistan, and such like casualties have happened. So we as a humanity cannot afford to have more such like things. So what to do in such like things? Uh, First of all, how people react in disastrous situations. This is a major cause. If I may ask you, can you tell me how, if such a disaster comes, what will be your reaction? What, like in our school as educators, we tell our children, the moment you hear the siren, you don't have to panic. This is something that the siren has been rung for you to make you alert. So first of all, do not get panicked. No panic. As much calm you are, that much properly you will be able to analyze the situation. You will be able to look into that what next. So very first thing to do with our children is to teach them how to be calm in a situation which is a very panicky situation. If we create panic, if we create havoc, the person next to us, if he's a calm person, would also get irritated, troubled, and get into panic mode. So this is the first most thing that we have to do. And running away from situation will not help. You need to deal with the situation one at a time in a proper manner. How do we go about it? So please do not panic in case of any disaster that has struck, you have got into. Just analyze the situation and act wisely. This is one most prominent feature of the disaster management. When we are saying management, how are we going to manage the disaster that has struck? It has come, so we cannot run away from it. We have to face it. And how we face it, that depends on the individual. To take it calmly, think about it wisely, and look for solutions that are going to really, really help us. So, what is disaster management? The preparedness. How are you prepared for the disaster? So, what activities that you are going to have before the disaster comes? Like again, I go to pandemic, that what are the activities we teach our children? To sanitize your hands wherever it is possible. You must wash your hands again and again. What is the prior activity? You must sanitize before sitting on a table and a chair. Just sanitize that place. That also makes a difference. And the activities that prior to disaster, we need to do them. And response during the disaster, how is the response going to be? And recovery, what would be, how you will be catering to it? What will be followed for it? How to overcome it? One cannot just keep suffering. One has to be resilient, come out of the situation. Then what has to be done for that particular activity? And mitigation, the activities that are going to really, reduce the effects of the disaster. So this all makes a lot of difference. So if we are ready, if we know about how to tackle the situation beforehand, during that time, and post disaster, this all makes a difference, and it really counts how you go about it. All right. So the next question is how to prepare ourselves for such situations. First of all, be aware. Like just now, I was sharing with you the data that we have collected from within the country and from abroad. And awareness of what could happen, what could be done. Now the buildings are made like earthquake prone, that how it should be. Like if I have Indians with me here, people from India who watch Indian movies also. I'm talking about a very old age movie. Have you ever seen Waqt? किसी ने अगर वो पिक्चर देखी हुई है. So what happened in a few minutes? Just now, that person was boasting about the family, about the sons, and the very next moment, the disaster, the earthquake struck. What was it? All was shattered. The family was destroyed. The children got separated from the parents. What could they have done? If they would have known before in such a situation to where to hide, where to protect yourselves, this could have made a difference. So, number one, be always thankful for each and everything, each and every day. So this is one of the way of living that we have to love. We have to learn. We have to be gratuitous. That is very, very important. We should be aware of our surroundings, keep our exits clear so that if you have to move out of a certain place, you are not banging into anything. You have clear spaces to walk around, to move out of the building, out of your house if need be. And they say in this time, the elevators should not be used. It could be if the building catches a fire also, if there is some earthquake also. So what do you have to do? The first and the foremost thing, if you are, very calm, collected, composed, the first thing should be just to switch off the elevators. The people should use the staircases only, right? And if you are in a school, you should daily have a count of your how many physically injured people are there, how many people are there who need your wheelchairs, who need the stretchers. The count should always go every day to the doctor station at your school, because the schools have their medical rooms. Similarly, the offices, the malls, the complexes, they all have the first aid, where they provide first aid to people. They have such provisions. So when you talk about malls and when you talk about cinema halls, you don't know what kind of gentry is going to come. But your exit should be clearly marked, so that if need be, people have to rush out, move out of the building. They should be aware. They should know which place to follow, what path to follow. You would have observed exits written in very bold letters, and there are paths now. I also observe in the cinema halls, they have really highlighted those paths. They just in the dark also, they shine and you know which way to go. So this all really helps you. These are little things, but if you are aware of your exits, from where do you have to come, from where do you have to go, this all really makes a difference. We say in school also, there are n number of classes. So children, go to your nearest exit. So when we ask them, go to your nearest exit, we ensure that all the exits, first of all, are open, and the way, the path is very clear, and they move down very calm, cool, and composed. And they move out. How do they go? They should be aware that they have to move in a buddy system, so that they know that they are not leaving anyone behind. They are conscious. We make buddies in our classrooms so that each and every child has somebody to look for. So this really helps. If they are all single out, you never, at times, you miss out on somebody. You do not come to know that if somebody is left. But if you have the buddy system, one is very conscious. One looks around, oh, my buddy is missing. So this is one very important feature that everybody should follow, should make buddies in the classroom. So when the student's buddy is missing, that one would immediately call upon and look for and inform the teacher that, yes, my buddy is missing. And whenever they move down the staircases, for example, they move sides. They leave space in between. They leave space for their teachers, for the people who come to help, for the rescue team to move about. That becomes very important, that they do not cover the entire space in the staircases, that it becomes difficult for the third person to walk. So these are little things that we have to make our students aware, that where they have to go, they have to stand away from the building, God forbid. So if the earthquake strikes and the building falls, so if the children, if the people are away from the building, they are quite saved. So these are little things that we have to be aware of and make our people surrounding us, people living in the community, people living with us, made aware of such a thing. So they say drop, cover, and hold. So what are you going to drop? What are you going to cover? So drop yourself and cover yourself, and you hold yourself so that you are saved. I hope the picture is quite clear to you. You're dropping yourself, you are coming down, and you are covering your head, the most sensitive area you are covering. And you are going to hold the furniture, that it protects you. It protects you and you are covered. So this makes a difference. All right, so going to the next one. So the first aid, when we are talking about awareness, when we are talking about preparedness, so we must know what first aid has to be given and when. So what is the first aid that has to be provided? First of all, the medical teacher should be there. The medical teacher, what I mean to say, the doctor should be there. And the first aid classes should also be held beforehand, so that if there are more casualties, so it is not the one person, not the one doctor who is assisting many people, but there are others also to assist her or him. So in the need of crisis. So first aid is very important. It is not necessary that first aid will be given by just one person, the doctor, the nurse. It can be given, the other teachers, the other students should be trained to give the assistance, to give the first aid. And CPR is a very common thing that is expected. You people, the teachers at schools, in FI Talk, the officers at the employers at their office, what they can do, they can call the doctor. You get the dummies these days, and how to give a CPR is not just, as I said, giving the first aid is not just the doctor's task. Giving the CPR is also not the doctor's task. It is, everybody should be able to do it. So it is not only that the disaster had struck in the community, it can be at your home, and whatever first aid, whatever CPR giving you have learned, it is not that you are waiting for that one-time disaster to struck to try it. You can need these skills anytime, anywhere. So we should be skilled in all these activities. So we are talking about disaster management. We are managing the disaster. And these are few things that you should be aware of. All right, so now when I am talking about the role of the teachers in preparedness, before that, if I may look, is there any question by anybody? I will just take a look. Okay. All right, can I move further? All right. So right now, I don't see any questions. Thank you for the comments that I see here. Thank you. All right. So now I'm just going to revise what all we just now discussed. We discussed that exit plans have to be very clear, whether you are teaching in a school, whether you're working in an office, whether you visit a mall, whether you go to a cinema hall, you should be like you have gone for your shopping or your enjoyment, for whatever reason you have gone. But please be alert. Please be conscious about the exits put up there, so that in case of any emergency or something, you know where to go. You are not just looking for some help. So self-help is the best help. So please learn that you have to help yourself. So follow the buddy system in a classroom of 40 children. And if the buddy is missing, you will come to know easily, because that is a panic-stricken situation. Although you are very much calm and composed, but at times you might lose out on any student or somebody, but there will be that one person to tell you, hey, my buddy is missing. So buddy system is very important. So here it says have the heaviest book on your head. It means carry something that can protect your head. When we say just now in the previous slide, you must have seen drop cover. So here this cover is carrying. We say in classroom, children carry a heavy book on your head so that it is covered. The most sensitive thing. Not to use lift and elevators. This the children should be made aware of. You don't know whether somebody has switched it off or has taken care of switching it off. But if it is made very clear to the students at the time of disaster that has struck, you need not use the lift, the elevators. That can be very harmful. Moving in two lines on staircase, although you're moving with your buddy, but yes, both the buddies move in sideways. The center space you leave for the rescue team. They might be bringing somebody on the wheelchair. They might be getting somebody on the stretchers. And in the buildings, although there are staircases, but to have slides, there are many people who cannot climb up the stairs, who cannot climb down the stairs. But there are many people who would be able to use those slides, would be able to walk on them, come down on them. The wheelchair also can be taken down easily. If the lift is not working, it is difficult to lift it up in the lift area, but it can be brought down easily through the place where it is like a slide. All right. And make disaster management representatives, not only in the class, in your offices, in your workplaces also. Some people there should be there to guide others so that they take responsibility of, yes, correct, they are assembling outside the school building. And once they have taken care of, their buddies have taken care of, that everybody is there. Then secondly, they have counted, yes, Today, when we took the attendance in the class, this one was absent. 1, 2, 3 were absent. So are all the others present? Maybe somebody was in the toilet, somebody gone to the washroom, and somebody gone to the library, somebody to the staff room. So wherever, but now has everybody come to the designated place? So when we say the students and the people all around, it is just not the duty of one teacher in the classroom, it becomes duty of everybody in the building, right? So starting from your floors, and this can be really helpful. All right, I see one question. How can use virtual situations to help students be familiar with real situations? It is not virtual situations. You can hold mock drills. You can ring a siren and train the children how to respond to that particular siren. It is not virtually, you are giving them an experience. So it is an experiential drill that can happen during that time. It is not just talking about this, we are just talking on the online mode. But then when you are physically present with your students, you are going to tell them, yes, it like physically also, if virtually, if you talk about that, if we could have also planned looking at our exits, okay, running around and moving down, all this makes a difference. So this is something where, when we are talking about the disaster, we are talking about the situation where you have been really got into. All right, okay. So as I said, it is not the responsibility of just one person. It is the responsibility of the entire community that time. Everybody who is there in that building, they have to hear to the the siren has been rung, the bell has come, the commotion is there, there is some thing that has been announced, and how to react to that situation. This is preparedness. This is the disaster management. This is what we have to teach our students, teach our community, how to react to the situation. Use the nearest exit. If the nearest exit is crowded, there are already many students lined up, many people lined up, there must be another exit. Go and look for that. So whenever you are in your vicinity, in your spaces, you must be aware how many exits are there. If one I cannot approach, is not accessible, can I use the other one? So this is very good, make students move out in the ground, demarcated areas. This something has to be done prior. This has to be done beforehand. All right. And okay. All right. Okay. So just a moment. Okay. So this brings me to the end of my presentation, where I have taken you and I have shared all the information. How should we prepare for the disaster, the biological disaster, which we have been experiencing from past 2 years, and any other disaster that can happen, how we are going to face it, such like disasters if they occur. And if you have anything, we can ask. You can ask me. The attendance form has been shared. Please go ahead and fill it up. And if you have any presentation, I'm sorry, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you. Yes. How can we make students not panic? It is your training. you have to train, Mr. Medhat. It is when the children are, this comes by practice. Not all of a sudden we can expect that they do not. It is with practice. If we have mock drills very, regularly conducted in our school, so they will learn the art of keeping oneself calm as well. Thank you, dear Nada. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So I don't see anything, any more questions coming. So whatever questions were asked here, I have answered them all. All right. So may I take your leave? Thank you.